Well, hello, Shiny Crafty People. It's Tim Totten here, and welcome back to the channel. You'll see I'm wearing a suit today, and that's because, look over my shoulder, is my booth at the National Funeral Directors Convention in Chicago, in Illinois, in the United States. So you see from this huge trade show floor that we are here at McCormick Place, and we're off in a bit of a corner. We didn't choose this, by the way. There were supposed to be a bunch more booths further back, and they just blocked them off because people didn't pay for them. So luckily I did encourage them to add some seating here. So across the way from me, there's at least something for people to do. So as they're walking down this long path, they at least see something as they go. So anyway, let me show you around the trade show floor. We're here early before it actually starts, so, on the second day. So I'll show you some of the really cool things that I found in my my day job, which a lot of you don't really get to see because I'm so busy showing you sewing and crafting stuff. So let's go take a look. So right across from us on the trade show floor, these are NFDA new members, new exhibitors that are coming. And so there's some companies that are setting up new. This place has some fun wind chimes that I saw that have designs on them, and they have a bunch of different sort of keepsakes and things to sell to people. This is actually a death care collective book nook and authors alley. And so they have a couple authors that have been here signing different books and things. And you'll see they have different authors lined up for the week to come here and meet people. So that's kind of cool. There's a cremation company here. So right next to that, of course, is a state-of-the-art cremation equipment company. And so this is a processor for cremated remains. After they've been cremated, I won't really go into too much detail there. But you'll see companies like this come set up and sell all sorts of stuff. This one's fun. This is a marking the spot where you scattered cremated remains. So this shows a water burial of cremated remains, and it's a way to do an online map to show people where you scattered your loved one. Very interesting. But we'll go around, of course. Like, I mean, it's a funeral convention, so we got to have cars, all the different hearses. There's not a lot new in cars right now, but if I find something, I'll show it to you. So one of the things you'll see is all these big hanging signs from the ceiling, and these are gigantic companies in the industry. So Tribute Technologies has been buying up a lot of smaller companies and bringing that mostly digital stuff into the world. Physicians Mutual is a gigantic pre-need insurance and trust company. Basically, when you want to get your funeral arrangements done in advance, you can a funeral home would use a company like this to finance that for you through an insurance product that you buy. In front of us here is a company called Doric. They're a vault company. Basically, they make grave burial vaults that go into the ground. So I'll give you an idea what that looks like. Here's a cut version of that. And basically into a cemetery, this vault would go in the ground and the casket goes inside of it. This is just part of it. It would normally be the full length, as you see, but it's hard to bring a full 1,000-pound vault into a show like this. You'll see back there some versions of what other vaults in the past have looked like. They're small versions, obviously. This is an interesting new company doing the world's first mushroom casket and urn. So this is a casket made out of mushrooms. Isn't that crazy? And so they're pushing the idea of burials for green burials. This is their urn product, and it's an interesting material. And what's the crazy part is you can't see this on because you can't feel it. It's soft. It feels literally, it's a grown sort of soft mushroom thing. Like that is so crazy. I've never seen that. I'm fascinated. And so this is a company doing terramation, which is basically a way to naturally decompose a body over time. And they have their big machinery here that helps to do that. I haven't quite got the full explanation, mostly because that's in German and I haven't been. So I showed you all the big cars over there, and this is actually a company called Hearses. By purchase, that's their last name. Fun how it works. They actually do a great job of converting other types of vehicles. So they convert like Cadillac Escalades into hearses, or Honda Odysseys, Lincoln Navigator. But I really love, they took the new electric Volkswagen ID Buzz and turned it into a small hearse, and I thought that was just really ingenious. I will say you may have I apologize to anybody who's had to experience the death of a child. I know how difficult that is from people I've served, families that I've served, and some people in my own family. This is a company that I really love. It's called Heaven's Gain Ministries, and they do just stuff for babies. Now, they have most of their stuff covered up because it's not the convention starting yet, but you'll see on the back, they actually have one of our products, which I'm very proud that they resell our stuff, because we make that. I designed that carrier for when it's time to pick up a baby who's passed away and bring it to the funeral home. That beautiful thing is meant to be carried at your heart level. So Heaven's Gain Ministries is a really great company, and I love the work that they do. Of course, funeral directors need suits, so this is a friend of mine who has a bespoke custom clothing design for funeral services, and he actually fits people. That's a dressing room in the back. He actually fits them and gets them, oh, there I am, gets them ready for the show. They can come right here and go ahead and get a wardrobe. And then my other friends from Full Circle Aftercare, they create a program for funeral homes so that they can help people after a death navigate that grief. And of course, you know, funeral homes still need banks. So banks like Huntington are here. I think a few other big banks are here in the hall today. And actually there's several urn companies that make beautiful handmade urns. These are all porcelain products. I think porcelain or clay in some way. Buena Tierra urns. I mean, look how beautiful this work is, and you can get sort of matching pieces.
All right, so do the 9, you can do that.
So a huge thing in funeral service is memorialization. How do you make things personalized to a family and give them things to memorialize a loved one? So these are printed pillows, and of course different types of frames. I think those are cute at the top. Those are lids for baking things, and then there's like this is a puzzle you can make up with a loved one's pictures, and other pieces that really just help to tell the story of someone's life. Interestingly enough, you might not realize it, but most of the time when you are on an airplane, the odds are that there is someone else on the airplane with you who didn't have to get on with everyone else because they're actually passed away, and they're in the cargo hold below being shipped. I'm from Florida, and a lot of people get shipped back home from Florida to wherever they came from in the north. So Delta Air Cargo is here. United is on the other side of the building. Southwest Airlines is here, and they work hard to get funeral homes to use them when they're sending people home. This, they happen to really be showing them doing services for military veterans or active duty military who are being shipped. But they really do. Anybody will be riding on a plane. So there are huge companies like Funeral One. They do websites and digital stuff for funeral homes. And then there's smaller companies like Vischer Funeral Supply here. And Zachary from Vischer actually sells a lot of different products, including, this is one of our products, the cover that goes onto that church truck. Now he's got it flipped open. Normally it would be folded out, but he sells those, our stuff, along with about 30 something other companies in the industry. So actually on the floor, there's probably 7 companies here that are showing our product, as well as we're showing our product. Now, I just showed you the German alternative, and this is another Terramation vessels. Look, this is literally chrysalis vessels that the body's placed into. There's one behind here to show you. And then they turn on belts, and this is basically turning someone into compost or living soil, regenerative living soil. I really haven't investigated this issue, so I can't tell you a lot more about it. I'll have to look into it a little more, but it's an interesting idea, probably one of the newest things for how to return someone's body to the earth in a way. So this is actually an implant recycling company. It's one of my favorite companies, not just because they have this cool digital, but they always bring candy bars. So I'm actually gonna grab a Snickers, and they bring the full size. So Furno is actually the biggest company making equipment. They make stretchers like here and there, and they make the church trucks. And basically they make all the stuff that we make stuff to go onto. They make their own version of church truck drapes, but we make our very first product ever made went on one of these stretchers to cover somebody who's passed away. So actually, let's by the different urns that companies that come with different things like these keepsake boxes, you know, like this one has some pretty stripe design, you know, and you can get a whole range of things in it. So it's fun to see what people are coming up with. Since it's really before the show is quite starting, there's not that many people on the floor. Here's an actual great product. This company is putting together a mother and a baby's fingerprint and footprint and other things. I found that quite interesting as something they would do. American Airlines Cargo is here. Champion is another funeral company. There's another company reselling our stuff. Yeah. Messenger, which is a huge company that sells like stationery and urns and other things. They brought in sort of their own like camp theme here this year, which is kind of fun. Messenger is a company that has a lot of different parts to it, but its main part is stationery and keepsakes for funeral services and to memorialize loved ones. So you see a lot of these things. This is a register book where people sign in. Of course, they make little cards and things that get handed out to people. I love they made these trees and the green grass, and they actually had little chirpers that sounded like birds chirping. They have a whole line of military themed stuff that works out really, really well. And of course, they designed this so that funeral homes can create them right there in their funeral home, print them on nice high-speed printers. It's a lot of great stuff from Messenger. One of the things I really love in this industry is all the very specific small businesses. So this is a flower petal keepsakes. They make commemorative rosaries out of your roses. So let's say you have roses on, for a service, a big casket spray, then they can take those and turn them into beads. They actually do a way that they preserve the roses and turn them into beads to create commemorative rosaries. So the rosary itself is actually made from roses from your loved one's funeral. It's kind of a very cool way for them to keep the flowers from the family's funeral service and make a rosary that commemorates your loved one. So Tukios is a huge company that actually sponsors the back page of my magazine. Maybe y'all remember I published a magazine for funeral directors called Funeral Business Solutions, and they create software to improve funerals, not only things that make it easier for people to run their funeral home, but also to make like keepsake videos. And they're actually really smart because they do an interactive display at the trade show. They bring a heat press. This is a heat press to make hats, and then you can pick a patch that you want to put on there, and then you get to take home a hat, which is, gets funeral homes excited. Speaking of that, CPO Guard is another company, and they are basically, it's interesting, they're more like an insurance-based product, but it's hard to like really give away some insurance to get people enticed by your thing. So they actually do socks. CPO Guard gives away socks. They're famously known for giving away branded socks at this trade show, and it brings a lot of business for them. That's for a company called CPO Guard. This company's back again. It's called Life's QR Code, and they make these metal QR codes. You'll see right here. They make metal QR codes that can go like onto a grave marker. You'll see one there on a grave marker. And so if you're in the cemetery, you can scan that QR code, and it'll bring up a website that shows all the details of the person. So it's more than just the few things that can get etched on the outside of the grave marker. And that's Life's QR Code. In fact, you can just go to lifesqrcode.com, I think it is. You have to Google their name. And you could just buy one for yourself. You don't have to buy it through a funeral home. They just happen to also sell them through funeral homes. So Hilton Funeral Supply actually is another company that resells our product. I don't think they have any on the shelf here because they're doing a more sleek line booth, but they do lots of funeral supplies. They started in Michigan, and that's where they still are, but they also go nationwide, and they do a lot of online stuff. So it's another great company that we use to resell our products. The number of military service members that have been in the U.S. military is a lot because, we're a very big country and we've done a lot around the world. So things that honor veterans, because there are so many American military veterans, are really popular. These are all made in America by a company called Spartacraft. Been around forever, but they make flag cases, you'll see, but also memorialization cases. So this one's flipped over, but you'll see, well, no, that one's not flipped over. Oh, that's the base for a flag case to go on top. But then you see ones here, like the base is made with a place for medals to go in. As you can imagine, this is a huge trade show floor. Everybody has some interesting new ideas. This company's pushing the idea of rental flowers, making beautiful artificial flowers and then renting them out. A funeral home would rent them out to other people. I thought that was quite interesting. As we go through, you see Funeral Carlson. It's an answering service for funeral directors. And this one was interesting, funeral supply shop, and sort of like a one-size-fits-all, you know, a one-stop shop for funeral homes to buy a lot of different stuff. This is a digital guest book. I love the wooden stand it comes in, and it is actually digital. It's like a big iPad, but you can sign in the guest book, and this is a way to give families a digital guest book rather than a written or printed one. And then, of course, there are big companies at the back of the booth. You see how they grab people to come further back. It's impressive. So yeah, I was going to say there's some more really big companies. Both of these, NGL, which stands for National Guardian Life, which is a life insurance company, advertises in my magazine. So does ASD, which is Answering Service for Directors. And interestingly, they've just are helping with a new company called Cremation Air. This is going to be on the cover of my magazine next month. And they even brought an airplane with them. They are doing scattering of cremated remains by airplane. And pretty fantastic. It's going to be interesting to cover that story soon. These guys at Acorial and the Living Urn have been going for some years now, and they create beautiful, this Living Urn system is basically a biodegradable urn planting system. And so you can put the cremated remains into that urn and then bury it, and then it helps to grow things that grow. So you basically plant the urn, and then you can plant a tree over top of it. So they will ship you the tree to go with it, which is pretty great. So here are the trees that they'll ship you. So you would plant the urn in the ground and then plant the tree over top of it. And they, of course, sell all kinds of other urns as well. I particularly like this urn that has a sort of bonsai tree coming out of the top of it. So here's a flower preservation company. And so they would basically take the flowers that people have at their service, and they can do flat systems like this, where they would dry them out and place them flat, or they can actually encase them in resin. So look at this resin encased. So these are flowers from the actual funeral service, and then they've been able to grow from there and make amazing stuff. Now, they most likely, this company started doing weddings. You can see here is the actual sort of a wedding version, but they have stretched out to include funerals because flowers are such a big part of people's funeral and memorial services. And this is always the most popular booth, where the dogs are, where they bring their therapy and service dogs. And actually there are funeral homes now. I feature them in our magazine that actually have therapy dogs on staff to work with families that are grieving. So this is totally cool. There's some amazing puppy dogs here. And this booth, as the day gets a little bit busier, this booth is going to be so crazy busy because there will be so many people here playing with these dogs.
I need to do a full photo shoot with Mary.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'm impressed with the small makers that come to the event. This is a artistic urn company. This is all beautiful wood urns that have been turned by this artist. Really beautiful. Of course, there's food on the floor for people, and companies like One Director that does all kind of interesting stuff. This guy has urns, a whole bunch of different spun brass urns, and it's just a lot to see on this trade show floor. We had several thousand funeral directors come in during the 3 days that it was open, and it was a lot of big traffic coming our way. I like this guy. This one says, "Get stoned." Actually, the National Museum of Funeral History is here. So they've got a little display, but they also have not just a display, but they have a store, things for sale. So you can get yourself, there's the National Museum of Funeral History. So they have some blankets, different books, all sort of death-related t-shirts from the National Museum of Funeral History. Cremation, the last thing to light your fire. And then, of course, ornaments and other fun things.
Dirty clothes. Wrap your dirty clothes around it. Inside of it.
I think my favorite part are the little coffin-shaped flasks. Those are hilarious. One company was even doing headshots for people who wanted to get the professional headshots done. What a great way to bring in a professional photographer who can help you get a great headshot, and then it makes you remember first call. So this is a company making interesting products, and this is one that's a mechanical electric version so that you can easily lift a human remains, and it's all electronic, so you're not worrying about the wear and tear on your back. Normally you have to lift a person in the back of a vehicle, so he's doing the version that hooks on into your vehicle, and then it lifts the legs up, and then you just push straight in. It really can be quite backbreaking for funeral homes to have to, funeral professionals to have to lift heavy bodies on these stretchers that don't have that, so it's pretty impressive.
I've had too much.
This company always makes a big splash because they have these huge flagpoles, so that's pretty cool. Actually, there's somebody doing a whole description over here, so he's kind of over speaking me. So it's not just regular hearses they have there. Of course, they have vehicles that you can lead the funeral procession with, or vehicles that you can carry multiple caskets or remains. And the big black one on the right is actually a hearse from a van. This one's more of a transport vehicle, and this is meant to help people who are needing to move a number of caskets or even stretchers around. So one of the things about coming to these shows is you get some pretty unique hearses. This one was clearly already built for a funeral home, and they're delivering it after the show. So Philip & Sons has this show here, and then this really beautiful sort of, I don't know what color this is exactly. It's not quite a red, it's more of a burnt autumn sort of color. I'm actually kind of impressed by this one hearse behind here. See, this more traditional hearse with all the chrome on it, but this one they blacked out, so none of the only chrome detail we have is in the Landau bars back here, but the wheels are all black. All the trim that would normally be in chrome has been made black. It's just a very attractive vehicle. Even the front has just a little bit of chrome in those points, but it's not quite as chromed out as sometimes these cars can be. And when we can tell this is a big one of the electric Escalade type trucks because there's no engine in it. This is the big open front trunk, or frunk as they call it. And this would be used by a funeral director for either a lead vehicle, they would lead a procession, or they would actually use it as a family vehicle to help carry family to the funeral to follow right behind the hearse. Now this is sort of a standard hearse design, right? You've got the big side door that opens. They even have a little bit of a fabric curtain in the windows, and it opens in the back for the casket to go in.
Same as like these flower cars.
But this is called, to my left here, it's called a flower car. And so this one doesn't have the big bed in the back, the big open space with the windows. It actually has a place for the casket to go in, but then the roof is stepped up so you can lay the flowers on top, and you can actually put flowers down each side. Now you can't go in high-speed processions for this, but you can easily go in procession from the funeral home or the church to the cemetery with all your flowers visible, and you'll see how they've done some on the side over here. Now we go from that flower car over to my friends at the Mortuary Lift Company. These are good friends of mine, and they actually make lifting devices to help save a funeral director's back. I showed you that stretcher that goes easily in the back. This one, not only does it have a lifting system, so you can lift a body easily, but also, look at this, is called the stepper. This is a device to be able to carry a body down the stairs from a very, like if someone dies up the stairs in their house on the second floor, you can easily place the body on here, strap it down. This young man is sort of demonstrating the power effects of it, how it's done with power. So it's actually electrified, so he's gonna move the handle up. Yeah. Look, it's got a leg part that comes down. There's Brenda going by. And so now we've got more like a stretcher.
And there will be wheels on this.
And there would normally be wheels at the bottom. I love it. But this like makes it super easy to go up and down stairs, right?
Right. So with these secondary wheels down here, which are controlled with this button.
Yep. Oh, I see them going down.
You can go. This is upstairs.
It literally climbs stairs.
And then this function, now it's in the descend, and it will, you roll it off, and those two wheels will catch.
Yep.
And then lower down the stuff.
I love it. That's so cool.
There's
Definitely back saving. Yeah, saving your backs like crazy.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, is just eliminate injury in this industry.
And this company Eulogizes out of Australia, and they did something fun. A lot of these places give away candy and other stuff. They're giving away little mini figures. So in other words, they're Lego. You come in and you make your own Lego character, which is so cool. So these people are making their own Lego figures. And then they're going to, once they figure all the pieces they want, to make their own Lego action figure. Then they'll be able to put them on a little display. So see the cute little display they have here.
She's like, I need this.
And she's going to have the
copy newspaper.
Okay, how do I do it?
Okay, so, yeah. Do you want I can pop her in a hand if you like. There we go.
It goes in your hand. I know how to do that.
Trust me, one day of...
These are the best I could do, but she
Oh,
might
she
share.
can hold it.
There we go, she can hold it.
What about ready?
She's on.
This is the booth for Funeral Women Lead. It's actually led by Lisa Bowie. We featured her in our magazine, this last issue. And this is an organization about helping women in funeral service, because actually the fastest growing number of funeral directors and funeral home owners are women. They're getting into the industry at a huge rate, which is amazing. And a lot of things are being done to help women succeed in the funeral industry. So this is kind of cool. It's exciting that she's got a big old booth here at the show, and pushing forward the future of women in funeral service. Yeah, so this looks like what happens when they roll out is we get all of our, we're piling all our stuff up, but they get really cranking out. You're gonna see what the floor looks like. Look at this. We got forklifts, we got hearses trying to back out, we got people backing everything up. Another National Funeral Director Show is done in the books. Well, you know what? We're gonna go get some lunch and I'll tell you about it. All right, so it's the end of day 2. We had a really successful day. We are at a ramen slash, like, what is it? A hot pot restaurant. So all this stuff is going by us on the conveyor belt, and in fact, we've ordered some stuff, but then this meat and stuff gets delivered by a robot above. I was hoping to see, oh, here's a robot going back. That robot is going back to the kitchen to go get more food for people. So what's great is that all of it comes by, we just grab what we want. So we are enjoying a good day too. Well, that's the look at the National Funeral Association convention, and I hope until next time you'll stay crafty. Bye for now. All right, I'm hungry. Let's eat.